rides.
Runners on their way to the stalls now for the big one, the $1.25 million AAMI Australian Cup Group 1, the 138th running. The last minute betting information will come from Mark Aston shortly, but the last minute information as to how they looked in the birdcage comes from Roy Higgins, courtesy of Sport 927.
Thanks, Pete. Yes, I did like the look of the 7 here, Zapor. I think David Hall has done a terrific job with this guy, timed his training to perfection. He's peaked. His last run was excellent. I backed him on top of the 5 Oliver Twist. This horse looks outstanding. Been trained for this race. He's peaked at the right time. Arrowsmith just arrived over from New Zealand, number 3. By gee, he's hard and fit. He looked excellent. And I'll enter Gaze, well, you've got to respect him in any race like this. His main trouble is he's drawn an awkward barrier in 15. He's going to need to get in to get a cover. And if Craig Carmody can do that in the first 200 or 300, I really do think he'll run a big race. Few chances in the race. I went 7, 5, 3 and 1. Pete?
Thanks, Roy. Roy Higgins, courtesy of Sport 927 with his thoughts. Well, the trophy for this race is a beauty. It is worth $5,000. First prize here worth $812,500. Replicas for the trainer and the jockey. And it is one of the most sought-after prizes in Australian racing. Very good field of weight-for-age performers here in the AAMI Australian Cup. $1.25 million in stakes, and as we said, first run back in 1863, so it is just 2 years younger than the famous Melbourne Cup, which is also run here at Flemington. Now, for the national anthem prior to the running of the AAMI Australian Cup, would you welcome Golden Guitar winner Adam Brandt?
Good. I'm going to have to call you back. What is it, a quick one? Okay, I'll call you back. Bye.
Golden Guitar winner Adam Brandt. We do apologise. There was a bit of a fault in the public address system out here at Flemington, so it made it a little bit hard to bring you the national anthem. But still, people standing here around Flemington prior to the running of this great race, the AAMI Australian Cup. Let's go to the betting ring. Mark Aston with a last-minute update.
Oliver Twist favourite. There hasn't been a great deal of money for him, but the money does continue to pour in for Zapor. I noticed that Roy Higgins said that he fancies Zapor. Certainly the money coming for Zapor late.
Thank you to Mark Aston. Well, we're not far away from a start. These runners have arrived over at the gates, and some of the jockeys will be having a bit of a chat. You find a few of them are chatty. Shane Dye, generally pretty businesslike when he gets out behind the gates. Jimmy Cassidy, the pumper, there he is aboard Oliver Twist. He doesn't mind a chat, and he'll be heading around behind the gates. Brett Preble just behind him there, aboard number 7, Zapor. He'll be focused. He's businesslike. In a Flurry we just saw go through screen, to be ridden by Patrick Payne, one of our finest horsemen. Oliver Twist, it would be a remarkable story for Brian Mayfield Smith if he was to win this race. He was the premier trainer in Sydney, knocked the legendary TJ Smith off his perch for the first time in about 3 decades. And then he decided to give up training not long ago and head to Africa to pursue his love of wildlife. And then he came back to the training caper, and he's made a great success of it since he's been back. There's Collins Street going up towards its spot. In a Flurry, in the black and blue colours, goes in. 3rd in the Caulfield Cup last year. The Hind, the horse that suffered such bad interference in the Foster's Melbourne Cup, and bar for that, may have just about won. Gates are being filled. They're just about right. Only one to come up. So let's head up to the commentary box with his call of the big one, courtesy of Sport 927. Here is Brian Martin.
And they're set to go. The line is good. They're off and running now. They bounced out in a good line too. Morphy, Oliver Twist out quickly with Intergaze, and going forward Arena. Labille pushing up on the inside. Arimathea behind those with Morphy, and further out Intergaze wide. Zipporah's off the track in the early point of the race at the 1800 metre mark. Labille just led now Arena and pushing forward on the outside of those Oliver Twist, and he couldn't get in on Zipporah now Preble, and he's let it roll, and Zipporah's going to take up the running in the Cup and moved out by 2 lengths to Oliver Twist and Labille. A half to Intergaze running fourth, one for the back Arena. Aerosmith deep. They're followed on the inside by Arimathea. On the outside of it, Morphy got tightened up, lost some ground, and Streak was put out wide from Flurry, and further back in the race then Crawl. They're followed over on the inside by the Hind, followed by Noir Sear and Collins Street last of all. Intergaze has whipped around the outside of Chiquita Lodge to take it up now. And the pace is on. It's Intergaze going out about 4 or 5 lengths in front of Zipporah. 2 lengths to Oliver Twist, a length for the back Labille, a length Aerosmith and a half Arena. 2 lengths then to Streak on the outside of Arimathea, 1.5 further back Morphy. They're followed on the inside of it by Flurry, outside at Crawl. A length and a half the Hind, and further back Noir Sear and Collins Street last of all. Intergaze, and most unfamiliar role. He's out about 8 lengths in front of the 800 metre mark. In second placing Zipporah, Oliver Twist and neck away third. 2 lengths further back in the race, then Aerosmith given a crack with a whip, followed by Labille. Then Arena, well back in the race, Street, followed by Arimathea. Morphy, well back was Crawl, followed by over on the inside in a Flurry, hard ridden. The Hinds dropped out to last, and Collins Street second last. Intergaze turns for home by 4 lengths down at the 400 metre mark from Zipporah on the inside of Oliver Twist. 3 Labille down the middle Arena running on from Aerosmith and Street. Intergaze at the 300 metre mark starting to fold. Zipporah after him with Oliver Twist on the outside, then Arena wider out. Intergaze at the 150, he's a length in front. Oliver Twist and Zipporah trying to get to him. Oh, Intergaze is giving plenty. The big red from Sydney's 2 lengths in front of Oliver Twist. Arena and Streak out wide, but it's Intergaze. Intergaze takes the Cup. A length and a half, and Daring Tactics out in front. Photo for the Miners, it's Arena or Streak out in the centre of the track. They're followed further back by the Hind, who rattled home. Then came Crawl. Then Zipporah from Collins Street, Oliver Twist and Aerosmith. Labille followed by Arimathea. Further back in the race, then Morphy followed by Flurry, never in the race, and Noir Sear is near the tail.
Unbelievable run by the grand campaigner Intergaze, who today wins his 9th Group 1, but he's never won one like that before. That was extraordinary. Craig Carmody going to the front over about the 1400 metre mark, and I don't know whether he wanted to be that far in front. I think the horse just fired up on him, and he has gone to the line as well as anything. It was sensational. Intergaze outstanding today in winning the Australian Cup, and it's going to be tight for second between Arena and Streak, which got home hard on the outside. That is a truly remarkable performance. Remember, he was up against some of the best weight for age horses in the land, and somehow he was able to keep on going. And there are the happy connections. We'll be chatting to Rod Craig in just a moment. He loves this horse. Craig Carmody loves this horse. They've had such an affinity. They were even going to head for the Melbourne Cup last year. It didn't finish up being on his agenda. Johnny Letts is catching up with Craig Carmody now, so we might join them out on the track. Lettsy, what a ride.
I just said to Craig, did you plan that before you went out? And I haven't got the answer yet, Pete. So Craig, tell the public before you went out what you were planning.
Well, you know, the natural pattern of his racing is always to get cover and sit him in behind and put him as relaxed as possible, but you know, without any cover, he revved up a little bit from the outside, and I had a real bit of trouble holding him, and I thought, well, this is no good, I may as well let him slide and be comfortable, and worked out well, mate.
And what a run it's been. Like, if we look at Intergaze and we think, well, he's got to have cover, he's got to be out the race. Here he is, 8 lengths in front with a half a mile to go, and I thought, well, he's one that can't win.
He's a champion, mate. He's 4 surprises.
Oh, look, Craig, you've had a great affinity with this horse, haven't you? He's been great for you. He's won, what, 9 group races now? And,
yeah, I've won 7 Group 1s on him, and no doubt this has been one of the most satisfying.
Haven't ridden in races myself. Can you tell me what was going through your mind at the furlong post now, honestly?
I thought, please hang on.
Please hang on. Yeah. One of those races that if you win, you're a champion, and if you got beat, well, what happens, isn't it? Yeah. Good luck, Craig. A great ride and well deserved.
truly remarkable performance by Intergaze as Craig Carmody comes back. Let's join the elated winning trainer, Rod Craig, with Mark Aston.
Well, I think he's somewhat in shock. Rod, what an extraordinary win in one of the biggest races on the Australian turf.
Well, I'm beside myself because I didn't know what to think when they went to the half mile and he got that lead. And I thought, oh no, so I didn't watch the race.
Well, just on that, because the boys all asked you what you thought of it from the press, and you said to them that you didn't watch the race. When did you look up?
Well, when he come past the clock tower, but then there's such a distance from the post, and the owners were jumping up and down. I thought, oh, don't go too early. So it was very, very exciting.
So how did you feel when Craig went 8-10 lengths in front?
I can't repeat it.
Congratulations. I mean, he has just beaten the best weight for age horses in Australia. It was an extraordinary win.
Well, in Melbourne at this stage, so you know he's on track for the rest of them. So I'm very, very pleased. Thanks very much for that. Yeah.
Well, have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Very, very happy trainer there, Peter, Rod Craig, and I think he's somewhat shell-shocked because that was an extraordinary performance.
And let's let the crowd say it all, Mark, as Intergaze comes back after a truly remarkable performance. You would think that that horse, the way the race panned out, just could not possibly keep going. But they'll give him some applause as he comes back to the winner's stall, and so they should. Absolutely outstanding effort, that. Second placing in the race after the photo went to number 2, Arena, with Darren Gauci aboard, and third was number 8, Streak, Jason Patton. So the numbers are 1, 2 and 8, and officially fourth was number 5, Oliver Twist, which looked the winner at about the 250 metre mark. Grand effort by a grand horse. 9 Group 1 victories, and the $812,000 he earns today takes his stake earnings to about $3.77 million. He has been a truly remarkable racehorse. Congratulations to Rod Craig. Congratulations to Craig Carmody and the connections of Intergaze, the AAMI Australian Cup champion for 2000. We'll take a break from Flemington and then we'll come back with the correct weight signal, the dividends and the presentation after Intergaze's stirring victory. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed a stirring performance in the AAMI Australian Cup by one of Australia's favourite weight-for-age gallopers, Intergaze. That was the performance of a horse with true courage. What a wonderful ride it was by Craig Carmody, summing up the situation. As he said to John Letts, the horse got a bit fired up, so he just let him go rather than fight him. And the long Flemington straight, which has caused a few heart attacks over the years, must have seemed even longer today to Craig Carmody as he held on to win by a length and a quarter from Arena, and third placing in the race going to number 8, Streak. And there is the correct weight signal. Weight is right after the AAMI Australian Cup, so we can bring you the official dividends on the numbers 1, 2 and 8. On Super Tab, the winner Intergaze, $5.80 and $2.50. Arena second, $2.60. Third Streak, $13.70. The Quinella paid $19.90. Trifecta, $1,931 even. The Exacta, $45.20. And the Race to Race Double, $348.40. Shortly, that wonderful horse will be sashed and the connections will accept the trophy and the big prize money that goes along with it. But first of all, what we might do is take the opportunity of taking a look at the AAMI Australian Cup from different angles. Alf Matthews is going to join me to have a look at the race, and as we do, we are going to see an amazing race, Alfie, because there were a couple of changes of lead early. The first surprise of the race was that Zerpool went to the front.
Yeah, and he didn't probably begin as well as he really wanted to. You can see Intergaze just outside there. You see Zerpool moving forward now. Now, Craig Carmody on Intergaze is desperate to try and get cover, as we said he'd try to do. Now, you can see his hands have probably slipped back just as he's gone out of view there.
Now, just to identify those horses back in the field, that's Arimathea on the rails, Morphe in the check colours, in a flurry back behind them. Now, look at Craig Carmody here. He's sitting up outside the leader. He's got nowhere to go. He thinks, well, I may as well be in front.
Well, the thing to notice here is the fact that his feet are so far forward, his hands are back. He's really struggling to hold that horse here, and he's just taken the option, hey, I'll let it stride.
Yeah, you can see him release the grip there. He's just gone down the grip, and he thought, well, there's no point in fighting this horse because it's just going to kill our chances. I'll let him go. I'll give him his head and let him stride.
No, spot on. And, you know, that has then given most runners in the race every real chance of getting home. You know, Zerpool's travelled well, just probably a little disappointing at the concluding stages, and particularly Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist had travelled beautifully. To identify him, he is the horse with the White Nose racing in third placing in the red blinkers on the outside of Zapor. Labille in the green behind them. He's already feeling for the stick on Aerosmith in the blue and white colours. That's Streak and Arena getting to the outside now in the cerise colours, and also the white sleeve Streak getting right to the outside as they head for home. How long would this straight have looked at Craig Carmody now? 2 miles?
2,000 metres.
Unbelievable. And yet
Craig probably had the opinion, right here, hey, I'm just starting my race now.
Yeah.
And as he said, you can see where he dropped his whip there.
Drop the stick there at about the 300.
Now that may have been a blessing in disguise too, because it enabled him at least to keep the horse relatively well balanced, and have a look at his body screwing away from the fence.
That is simply tiredness in the closing stages.
It is. But the thing is, he's broken everything else. His heart chasing.
Unbelievable effort. You saw, as Alfie pointed out, how tired that horse was, with his body just screwing away from the running rail. But only top horses can do what he did, and that is to dig as deep as he did and to hold off some of the best in the land. I cannot say how highly I regard that performance. That is just outstanding. Time was 2 minutes, 0.9 of a second, 1.1 second outside the record held by Kiwi golfer. We have just seen one of the most truly remarkable AAMI Australian Cups. Let's head down to Rob Gaillard for the presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, time for presentations for a thrilling AAMI Australian Cup for the year 2000. To begin our presentations, can I introduce to you the chairman of the VRC, Mr. Andrew Ramsden.
Thank you, Rob. Minister for Racing, Mr. Robert Hulls. Ladies and gentlemen, real horsepower today, a great win by Intergaze. The noisy alternative yesterday, I know what I prefer. The AAMI Australian Cup has been on this racing calendar since 1863, and after many changes, 2,000 metres at weights for age is just right. May I introduce the Minister for Racing, Mr. Robert Hulls.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, Victoria is the thoroughbred racing capital of Australia, and a day like today proves that racing can be fun, glamorous, and at times can be like a dream come true. But we mustn't forget that horse racing is a massive industry in Victoria, providing economic benefit and employment throughout the entire state. As we've heard, the Australian Cup is one of the oldest races in Australia. It boasts some great champions of the Australian turf as past winners, including Leilani, Dulcify, Ming Dynasty, Bone Crusher, Vo Rogue, Better Loosen Up, Let's Elope, Saintly, Octagonal, and many more. Today's Cup is worth over $1.25 million and has been won by a horse worthy to join the names of previous winners. Congratulations to Intergaze. It is now my pleasure. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Brian Keane, Managing Director of AAMI, to present the trophies to the winning connections of that great horse, Intergaze.
Thank you, Mr. Hulls, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of AAMI, this is a sponsorship which we dearly value. It's a great race, and it's a great weekend to be in Melbourne. It's the weather is fabulous, always fabulous at this time of year, and this race particularly tops it off after a great weekend. Somebody said yesterday that this race lacked a superstar. I'm not sure what Intergaze is if he's not a superstar. He's a people's champion, and he proved it again today. And on behalf of AAMI, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate all the connections of Intergaze. Mr. Lee, Mr. Andriazza, Ms. Peter Chin, Mr. Manikas, Mr. Hilly, and Mr. McDowell. To congratulate all of them and to ask Mr. Andriazza to accept the AAMI Australian Cup.
Administrators of the VRC, members of the VRC and distinguished guests, fellow punters and horse lovers, it is indeed with great pleasure I accept this trophy on behalf of myself and naturally the other owners. I would like to thank the Minister, Bob Hulls, and of course Brian Keane, the without the AAMI, this would not have been possible. And they're obviously very good sponsors, and they are very, very well-known sponsors. My thanks also to Mr. Ramsden, and I would like to thank you all for being here today. And of course, we mustn't forget our trainer, Rod Craig, who's also a very dear friend of ours. And the other fellow is the pilot, by the name of Craig Carmody. A race that I think will go down in the memory of Intergaze forever. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Rod Craig, trainer of the Superstar.
Chairman of the VRC, Minister, special thanks to Amy. Great sponsors of racing. I suppose I've been in about 5 races they've been involved in and love to win every one of them so far, but this is the first one we've got into, so I really mean that. They're a great sponsor of racing and I hope they continue. I'd really just like to thank the horse today. He's had a bit of pressure on him after last start, and he's getting a bit old now, I suppose, in people's eyes, but he's been a great horse to us, and I hope he's not finished yet. Thanks, Craig. Scared the tripe out of me, but anyway, thanks for a great ride, daring ride, and I'd like to talk to you about it later on. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Craig Carmody.
Why did you do it?
Members of the VRC, Mr. Minister, Mr. Distinguished guest, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I can't tell you the feeling which is rushing through me here at the moment. He's been the most wonderful horse to be associated with, and I've been with him since day one, since he had his first barrier trial. And that's his 8th Group 1 win today, and I've been associated with 7 of them. It really means so much to me to win this Australian Cup for his owners and Rod Craig, and for you guys that supported us today. I'd also like to thank, again, the owners for being staunch supporters right the way through his career. They've been stickers, and it's really paid off for us all. And I don't think I've ever really felt the emotion run through me as passing that winning post first today and avenging last year's defeat in the Australian Cup. Thank you once again to Amy for their wonderful trophies and their support of the day. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
And congratulations to Craig Carmody, to Rod Craig, and to all of the connections of Intergaze after that stirring win in the AAMI Australian Cup. And I can tell you that Rod Craig actually is a man with a heavy heart, with mixed emotions out there today, because his champion may have won the AAMI Australian Cup, but on Friday Rod Craig's best mate died and he was laid to rest today. So certainly AAMI Australian Cup Day 2000 is a day that he will remember for the rest of his life. All right, time to go out now to Lynn Talbot, who has a special guest with her. This young lady is one of the most promising athletes in Australia. She is knocking on the door of Charlene Rendina's 800-metre Australian record. Her name is Tamsin Lewis. Here she is with Lynn.
Yes, hi Peter. I've found a particularly beautiful part of Flemington. It's down in the VRC members enclosure, which is right at the other end of the straight, which is great. And with me is Tamsin Lewis, who can run, well, nearly as fast as some of those horses out there.
Well, I tell you, I wish I could, but I'm having a great day today. It's a beautiful day and the horses go very fast. They look so fit too. I'd love to look that fit.
It's a wonderful sound as they come past, isn't it? The thunder of the hooves. Do you like the races?
Good. Oh yeah, I love it. My boyfriend Lee Colbert got me into the trots the other when I first started going out with him, and this is my first time at the races and I'm loving it. I'm sure I'll be back. Oh, that's good. Now you're looking gorgeous today. Thank you. Nice little number there. Now tell us about your plans in the lead up to the Olympics in September. Yes, I've gone back into heavy training now after our summer season, and I'm heading over to Europe in June, July, and then I'll be back in August for the Olympic trials. Yeah, and you've cracked the 2 minutes for the 800. Yep. We like that. Yes. Well done. Yep, first time under 2 minutes this year, and that's a big psychological barrier. So now all I've got to do is make an Olympic final. Yeah, and your chances, how do you place them? We all want you there. Well, I've cracked the top 20 in the world now for the 800, so hopefully with the home crowd they'll push me through the top 10. And for the 4x4 we're a big medal chance, so
yes,
it's going to be exciting.
Who's going to make that 4x4 team in your opinion?
Tell you what, it's going to be close. I can't really say, but hopefully I'll be in there.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you out here today. Glad that you've enjoyed it and hope you become a regular out
certainly
here
will
at Flemington. We'd love to see more of you.
Thank you, I love it.
Thanks a lot, Tamsin.
Thank you, Lynn, and well done to Tamsin. We wish her the best leading up to the Sydney Olympics. She is a fine athlete. Well, plenty of activity going on in the betting ring prior to the running of the next event. We'll be back shortly with more action from Flemington. The Scalzo Food Industry Stakes is next from fabulous Flemington.